the do I do next, man? I haven't received my cards in the mail. Can't do Cosmos. Can't do... My Time Thief profile isn't ready yet. The mail is like... stopped working. Dark Magician. Dark Magician update time. Guys, welcome back. You know the drill. Let's get this underway. So, first we upgraded the Dark Magician into the OG best artwork. Easily the best artwork. Don't at me. Don't comment down below because we know who it is. It's the purple one. And he comes down to 30 cents for the 3. Well, you know why you run 3. Then, to upgrade it, this is less stunny than the previous build. This is the more going off build. You run the Apprentice Illusion Magician at 3. That comes out to $15. She's really good. She gets you your Dark Magician, obviously, but she also is able to kind of be a pseudo Souls, because I can show you like what's an easy way to turbo Dark Magician into on the first turn. So if you need to like trigger the Eye of Timaeus and different things to make Dark Magician Dragon Knight, you can do it with her, which is really, really powerful. And like I said, she's 15 bucks. And then you run triple Rod because it's standard to run 3 Searcher. That's, you know, obvious. This card's your best consistency card, and it just puts in a lot of work. It brings itself back. It's one of the better search cards I've seen an archetype have, and it's 42 cents for the 3. And then we run triple Eldritch Destroyer. So DD Crow I find is like one of the, if you're gonna run a hand trap this format, which you know everyone's gonna run about 10 to 15. This is the more budget, slightly casual version of the deck, since of course we don't have souls. But to be fair, if we did have souls, you wouldn't be anywhere near competitive just because the format is just too strong for this deck to compete. But this deck will be able to steal wins, and at locals do pretty decent, get you some, you know, packs and stuff at the end. But DD Crow, I find that in the main deck, Dark Magician struggles with a lot of different issues with consistency, because if you have too many different cards inside your deck that clog, you have issues with that, and as a result you have brick hands. So, but if you're going to run hand traps, which you should run at least like 1 to 2 in terms of like 3 to 6, you know, 1 to 2 individual hand traps. One you want to run is DD Crow for sure. It destroys Eldritch and destroys Adamancipator. If you can stop the Block Dragon combo, you basically have won. So that's what this card does for you, and it's pretty affordable at $2.10 for the 3. Then we get to the one-ofs of monsters. You run the one Dark Magician Girl. Went back and forth a million times, like should I run this, should I not? But I found that this build is actually pretty solid with Magician's Combination giving you a negate, and it needs you to run this. So you run the one Dark Magician Girl just because she's decent enough. And then you run the one Blue Boy. You run the Spellbook Engine for draw power to be able to have more consistency, so you run that. And the Dark Magician Girl comes out to 5 cents, the Blue Boy comes out to 30 cents. And then we get to the spell cards. You run the upgrade, the Soul Servant. You run triple of this because it's just one of the best consistency cards, and when you have souls, it really just, you know, takes this card to another level. But even without souls, this card's still phenomenal because it's able to add you almost anything in your deck to your hand and draw you cards. And when you're running Dark Magician Girl with this card, you're able to get 2 draws as opposed to the 1 once you get the Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician in the grave or the field. And I have tested out with Palladium Oracle Mahad just to have an extra draw, but then again that just ends up being win more, because if you're drawing 2 cards off of this, you're aces. There's no need to just clog yourself with a card like Mahad. And $26.25 for these 3, which kind of like starts taking us out of the budget range, but it's still decently budget, so I think we'll be okay. And then you run triple Dark Magic Circle, probably the best card still in the deck, best spell card at least. This and Rod usually get you there, just because, you know, you run so many Dark Magician cards. This helps you just kind of find something off the top very easily. And then with Soul Servant being ran, this bumps up your Dark Magician cards in the deck, which gives it another viable target off the circle, so you can add it off, and it just strengthens the deck a lot when you have these two both. Like when you have this, you have a much higher chance of getting this, and when you get this free off the top, that's just like mad plussing. And the Dark Magic Circle comes out to 42 cents for the 3. And then you run Double Veil. So this card is like, there is no replacement for Magician's Souls, obviously, since the card freaking is ran in, Eldritch and Pendulum and was ran in Spirals, and still, if you do run Spirals, some people still run it. So like, there's no replacement for Magician's Souls. But Magician's Souls' the main thing it does for your deck is it gets Dark Magician on the field first turn. It can do it by itself, and that's what makes it so powerful. But in terms of the pitching spells and traps to draw cards, that only comes up like some of the time, since you really want to just pitch your duplicates. But Dark Magician, you're not gonna always draw duplicates. You're trying to draw into just your first copy of each card that you need. So I find that this card, it's not you can't say it's an adequate Souls replacement, but it does like 20% of what Souls does, which is still enough to warrant it being ran, because then when you're going second, this card helps you go off on your opponent in terms of summoning the Dark Magician and banishing your opponent's stuff. And going first helps you make your Timaeus Fusion or Dark Paladin, whatever is necessary for that certain part of the game. So that's why you run the Dark Magic Veil, and it comes out to $1.70 for the 2. And then you run the Spellbook engine, just really strong engine. It's a spellcaster deck. Most spellcaster decks run this, especially ones that can facilitate the normal summon. And since this deck only has 3 normal summons, the fourth, 5th, and 6th of the Spellbook engine does not clog. Usually, if you get this and Rod, you just go straight to the Knowledge and then Knowledge away your Rod to get more pluses. So just really, really powerful in the deck and pretty standard why you run it. And the Spellbook of Secrets comes out to $1.74 for the 2. Then you run 1 Eye of Timaeus. This card is really, really solid. It gets you on your first turn your Dark Magic fusions, like the Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and he protects your board. And once you have him and your back row, you're pretty much winning that game because you're just so far ahead. But the only issue is that this card needs the Dark Magician on the field. If it could use it in the hand, you'd run this at 3, no question. But since it is that you have to have it on the field, the Dark Magic Veils come in handy, and so do the Apprentice Illusion Magicians, and I'll show you why in a second. But the Eye of Timaeus, a little bit expensive. It comes out to $8.93. And you only run the 1 because it just clogs too much because it needs the Dark Magician on the field. And then this is almost like your second copy of Eye of Timaeus. It does require a little bit more setup, but it is a quick play, which is cool because you can attack with your guys and then quick play into something else and, finish them off. Just a solid overall card, and it comes out to 30 cents. And then you run the 1 Spellbook of Knowledge. It's just the engine requirement to draw cards, and it's $2. And then 1 Dark Magic Inheritance. You run this because it's good to find off the top of the Dark Magic Circle, and you run it because it's a free search. So if you get like Rod and this with Spellbook Engine, this makes Spellbook Engine so much better, and the Spellbook Engine makes this better. So that's just, they go hand in hand. And I've cut it down to 1 because it is a hard once per turn. I know it's a quick play, so you can use it on your opponent's turn, but it needs setup. As a result, you don't want to clog with it because when you draw too many, it's really hard to set it up because your other cards are going to be usually dead. So 1 of it and $2.33 for the 1 copy. The 1 Illusion Magic. You run this because sometimes you can't get, with the Apprentice Illusion Magician, you can't get it in the Dark Magician to your hand. So this just helps you get it back, and sometimes you need your Dark Magician from the graveyard to be able to do your navigation plays. So this can bring that back also. And it's just a solid card to run because it helps Rod search for Dark Magician. Rod should have probably just had the ability to search Dark Magician straight away, but they wanted to make it a little more complicated. So you run the 1 and it's 5 cents. And then we get to the trap cards. You run triple Eternal Soul. Card's phenomenal. It's literally your playmaker, your win condition, everything. Brings back your guy once per turn, either player's turn, triggers off your circle. It's the best, but also maybe the worst card in your deck. But it's phenomenal. You have to run the 3, no question. And it's $1.35. You have to maximize your Dark Magician cards so that off the top of the circle you get a plus, because that plus is so huge to this deck. You run the triple Magical Magician's Navigation. Card's just really solid. It gets your Apprentice Illusion Magician from the deck, so you can special the Dark Magician, another Illusion Magician. You can chain block. You can summon Dark Magician Girl if you have the combination, so that you can negate stuff. It's just very strong, and it comes out to 57 cents for the 3. And then you run double Solemn Judgment, because it's one of the most broken cards ever printed, and double Solemn Strike, just because monster effects are so prevalent. So these help solidify your game state going first. When you have the Dark Magician plays all together, it just makes your board so tough to deal with. Dark Magician going first can actually handle meta decks. It's really impressive. It's strong enough. It's just most of its issues are in going second, but you usually address that in with the side deck or stuff like that. But yeah, the Solemn Judgments come out to $3.38, and the strikes are $1.90 for the 2. And then we run 1 combination and the 1 skill drain, which is another win condition. This against most decks is just game. Eldritch, you definitely want to side it out, because Eldritch does not care about this card, plus he can just out it. But the Magician's combination is very solid, because you can just keep flip-flopping between your Dark Magician and your Dark Magician Girl and negate things. So it can actually help keep Skill Drain alive, which is really phenomenal. And the combination is $3. The Skill Drain is $3.29. So far, the main deck is $75.38. That's it for the main deck, and now we're going to be moving into the extra deck. So you run the 1 Ebon Illusion Magician. I run the 1 because you only usually need 1, and it keeps the deck more budget to run 1. You can definitely run the 2nd, but I choose not to, just because it's usually not needed. But if you find that you do need it, run it, but I wanted to keep the deck as budget as possible, and that was the ultimate goal, while also being as good as possible. So the 1 Ebon Illusion Magician, because him with Naruto is sort of a combo. So just one of the simple things that you can do is, if I go right here, so 2 of these, you're obviously going to have discard fodder. So you discard whatever for her, and then special her out. And then the Dark Magician that you just got, you can pitch that for the 2nd Apprentice Illusion, summon them, then you overlay them for Naruto. So now you can just have the negate, which is cool. You can leave that on the board. Or if you have Circle, you're going 2nd, you have Eye of Timaeus. You definitely want to overlay again for this, because he can be summoned with any rank 6 spellcaster, which is Naruto being the best one, until Maggie comes out. But then again, I think this guy's still better. So you have him, and then you just attach 1 Apprentice Illusion to special summon the Dark Magician. So this is a way, without souls, to be able to get it on the field first turn. But that's just another, one simple little combo. Dark Magician really doesn't have too many combos. It's a control deck, so you're just kind of trying to get pieces to your hand. But the Ebon Illusion Magician comes out to $9, and the Naruto, which is just your standard, your only rank 6 that you run, he comes out to 18 cents. Then you want to run 1 Ebon High. He's decent because you have the judgments and the strikes and different traps. He can help use them on your opponent's turn without having them be susceptible on the field. So that's why he's good, and he comes out to 83 cents. You run the 1 Big Eye because he can steal opponent's monsters, and it's just a good rank 7, $1.75. You're on 1 Hierophant. Spellbook Engine is in this deck, so with him, after you resolve the Spellbook Engine, you can nuke your opponent's back row. He's really strong in the mirror, and just overall a good card. Really is able to crush control decks. He's $1.99. You run 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. He's just your standard burner. He's immune to Eternal Soul's Destruction, which is cool also. And Dark Magician has the unfortunate interesting thing about it that it's 2500 attack. So even 3 Dark Magicians attacking directly is only 7500 damage. But if you overlay those two for this, you'll end up getting that last 500 for game. So it just sometimes comes up as a decent card to run. So $2.50. You run the 1 Dark Arm, the Dragon of Annihilation. You have dark monsters all the time in grave. He's just very solid, and he's able to destroy stuff. And he's $5. And then we get to the fusions. You run 1 Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, 1 Dark Cavalry, and 1 Dark Paladin. This is standard because you want to be able to not negate, but stop your opponent from popping all your back row and removing your Eternal Soul. Dark Cavalry comes up because when you have a lot of stuff in the graveyards, he boosts himself up. He can usually be over 4,000, so he can run over random stuff, and he can do that just massive amount of damage for game. And Dark Paladin is just good at stopping and negating spell-heavy decks, you know, stuff like Sky Strikers. I saw that it won a recent tournament, so just a solid overall utility cards for Eye of Timaeus and the Secrets of Dark Magic. And then the 1 Imduk, you run this because you want to be able to use your normal monsters like Dark Magician. You link away into him and then fuse with Secrets of Dark Magic. And Secrets of Dark Magic is solid because it doesn't need to be on the field to fuse the Dark Magician. So then you can just use the Dark Magician in hand with this special summon. It's phenomenal. There's 1 Daybreaker because he's just good at removal and a solid link too. 1 Crowley because you want to run. You want to be able to see the spellbook engine, and you can use spellcasters such as Apprentice Illusions to make him, in case you have bricked pretty bad. So he's just kind of like a fallback solution. 1 Nightmare Phoenix and 1 Borreload, and that's just standard utility stuff. And the Imduk is 7 cents, the Daybreaker's 29 cents, Crowley 60 cents, Phoenix is $3, and Borreload Dragon is $1.20. And the extra deck comes out to $35.50. So total, we were just outside the budget range. So this deck wasn't, you know, ultra budget, but it did come out to $110.88. So it missed budget. Technically, most people define budget, you know, under $100. It missed budget by, you know, $10, $11. Guys, tell me what you think about the video. Comment down below if you have any tips and suggestions. Like the video as always, and subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one, and mad love as always.